A very good evening, friends. I welcome you all to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by the Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 8th March 2024. Before entering our discussion, I have an important announcement to make. The third batch of the pre-fit test series is going to start on 11th March 2024. It will have 63 tests in total, covering 37 half tests, 6 revision tests, 7 full tests, 10 CSAT and 5 mocks. You can write it in both online and offline mode. But if you are opting for evening batch, you can write only on online mode. So back to our discussion. Here are the list of topics which we are going to discuss today. So let's get into discussion. Look at this article. It talks about the ongoing 5-match test series between India and England. With 3-1 lead, India has reached the top position in the World Test Championship point table. So this is the crux of the article. With this backdrop, let us briefly understand about the World Test Championship from the preliminary perspective. Okay. World Test Championship or WTC stands as a pinnacle in the realm of test cricket, providing a structured framework to determine the world's top test playing nation. See, it was launched by the International Cricket Council ICC in 2019. The WTC had added a new dimension to the traditional format of the game, offering a competitive fixtures and increase the significance to the test matches. Okay, now let us see the characteristics of this World Test Championship. Firstly, we shall understand about the venue selection. See, the selection of the venues for the WTC matches is determined by the home team cricket board in consultation with the visiting team and ICC. See, in this case, BCCI determines the selection of venues in consultation with the England Cricket Board and ICC. Note that the host nations are responsible for organizing and hosting the test matches, ensuring that the venues meet the required standards for the international cricket. Moreover, venues are selected based on various factors like availability of the suitable facilities, pitch condition, weather, and logistical arrangements. Moreover, the ICC provides guidelines and criteria for the venue selection to ensure that the matches are played in a fair and conducive conditions for all the teams. Secondly, what will we get if we win this WTC championship? See, the winners will get Test Mace, or it's a prestigious trophy awarded to the team that finishes on the top of the WTC points table at the end of the championship cycle. See, it is modeled after the ICC Test Championship Mace, which was introduced in 2002. Test Mace symbolizes excellence and supremacy in the Test cricket. Okay, now let us discuss about the qualification criteria. See, the qualification process for the WTC involves a rigorous series of test matches played over a 2-year cycle with the points awarded based on the match results. See, each of the 9 test playing nations competes in a bilateral test series, both home and away, against 6 other teams during the 2-year cycle. Moving forward, let us see the key points regarding the qualification. Firstly, we shall see about the series point allocation. See, each test series carries a maximum of 120 points regardless of the number of matches within the series. Points are distributed based on the number of matches in the series and the outcome of each match, that is win, loss or draw. Secondly, home and away series. See, to ensure the fairness and balance, teams should play an equal number of home and away series during the championship cycle. This ensures that all the team faces a variety of condition challenges throughout the competition. Thirdly, points calculation. See, points are allocated on a percentage basis calculated by dividing the points earned by the total points available in the series. For example, winning a 2-match series earns a team 100% of the available points, that is 120, while winning a 5-match series earns a team 24% of the available points per match. Okay, finally, in case of tiebreakers, in the events of a team finishing with same number of points, tiebreakers such as the number of series points earned and the net run rate may come into play to determine the rankings of the teams. Okay, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the various bases of the World Test Championship. With this, let us complete this article and take up the next news article for our discussion. Take a look at this article. Securities and Exchange Board of India, Sebi, has prohibited JM Financial Firm from taking on new roles as a lead manager for the various public debt securities. See, this action was taken due to the irregularity in the NBFC of the JM Groups, which is called JM Financial Products. This regulatory action of the Sebi is aimed to address the identified irregularities and ensuring the compliances with the market regulations. See, this is the crux of the article. In this analysis, let us briefly discuss about the basics of 2 important economic terms called bond and bond yield. First of all, what is bond? Generally, a bond is an instrument used to borrow money from the market. See, it can be issued by both government or by company to raise funds. Know that the governmental bond, referred to as G-Secs in India, are generally backed by a sovereign guarantee of the government. See what it means? It means they are considered as the one of the safest investment in the market than the private securities. Okay, in this juncture, we should know about the basics of the market. That is, a highly secured investment will give you a low yield and vice versa. It means a low secured investment will give you high yield. So going by that logic, G-Secs will give the lowest return on the investment. This return is technically called bond yield. So it brings us to the second topic. What is bond yield? See, a bond yield is the return an investor realizes on a bond. To put it simply, a bond yield is the return on the capital which was invested by the investor. But the return of the bond is not fixed. It changes with various parameters like price of the bond, interest rate, etc. Okay, now let us see some of the basic terms like bond price, face value, coupon payment to understand the correlation between them. Firstly, let us see what is bond price. See, the bond price is the price at which the bond is sold to the investors. Secondly, face value. See, it is an amount a bond holder will receive when there is a maturity of the bond. It's also known as par value. See, the face value will always remain fixed, but the price of the bond can fluctuate in the market based on the prevailing interest rates. Thirdly, we shall know about coupon payments. See, to put it simply, it's an annual interest rate paid on a bond. See, it is expressed as a percentage of the face value. It is paid from the issue date until the maturity of the bond. See, these are all the basics of the term. Know that every bond has a face value and coupon payment. Moreover, it will have a price of the bond which may or may not be equal to the face value of the bond. See, this is the basics of the various terms used in the bond market. Okay, now let us apply them in the practical life to understand it better. Suppose the face value of a 10-year G-Sec is 100 and its coupon payment is 5. Buyers of the bond will give the government rupees 100. In return, the government will pay them rupees 5, that is coupon payment, every year for the next 10 years, and after the 10th year, it will pay back their 100 rupees at the end of the tenure. In this case, the bond yield or effective rate of interest is 5%. See, this is the basics of the bond yield. Now, let us see how a yield falls. Friends, know that generally bond yield and bond price are inversely related. So, what it means? Price of the bond goes up, its yield goes down, and as yield goes up, the price of the bond will go down. Now let us see the simple example to understand it better. Imagine a situation in which there is just only one G-Sec in the market and there are two buyers for it. In such a scenario, the selling price of the bond may go from rupees 100 to 105 or rupees 110. This is mainly due to the competitive bidding by the two buyers. Moreover, an important point to remember is that even if the bond is sold at rupees 110, the coupon payment of rupees 5 will not change because the coupon payment is always expressed as a percentage of the face value, which we have discussed already now. Thus, as the price of the bond increases from rupees 100 to 110, the yield falls at 4.5%. What it symbolizes? When the price of the bond goes up, the yield will come down. Okay, this is all about the fall in bond yield. See, the reverse happens when there is the fall in the bond price in the market. This is all about the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about an economic term called bond, and we shall also discuss about the trends in the bond yields vis-a-vis the bond price. Okay, with this basic understanding, let's conclude this and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this in the editorial. It covers the various struggles faced by women in the name of poverty and patriarchy in the workplaces and their progresses despite the obstacles. Okay, with this backdrop, let us discuss the woman's status in the contemporary society and the way ahead with our Mains answer writing approach. See, first of all, let us see where we can fit into our syllabus. This topic will come under General Studies Paper 1. Okay, now let us see the question. Though women in the post-independent India have excelled in various fields, the societal attitude towards the women and the feminist movement has been patriarchal. Apart from the women education and empowerment scheme, what interventions can help to change this milieu? See, this is the questions. If you look at the question, there are no explicit directive words, but instead a statement is given and they are asked to give points about the interventions which are needed with some exceptions. So for this question, we are going to stick with the intro, body and conclusion format. Introduction should address the stats regarding the women excellence, and it also should touch the social stigma and the challenges they face in the patriarchal setup. Our introduction may go like this. Post-independent India has seen patriarchal norms granting the men primary power, moral authority, special privileges and control over the property. Women have gained increased access to education, communication, media, political participation, leading to the growing consciousness among them. Various role model women like Kalpana Chawla, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw and the late Sushma Swaraj have made remarkable contribution in their respective fields. But on the other hand, challenges such as controversy over Sabrimala, Triple Talaq, and Madhya Pradesh High Court judgment on the POXO Act reveal that the persistent patriarchal barriers still remains and hindering the progress of the woman. See, in this way you can give an introduction part. Now coming to the body part, we have to discuss in brief about the interventions that help to address the issue. Our body part can go like this. See, addressing the patriarchal attitude towards women and promoting gender equality requires a multifaceted approach that goes beyond education and empowerment schemes. Here are some interventions that can help change the social milieu. Firstly, legislation and policy reform. See, strengthening the existing law and implementing the new policies to protect the women's rights and promote gender equality is crucial. This includes laws against the gender-based violence, sexual harassment, discrimination in the workplace, and equal pay for equal work. Secondly, with respect to media representation, see, encouraging diverse and positive representation of women in media can challenge the existing stereotypes and promote more inclusive attitudes. The media platforms should be encouraged to portray a woman in the roles that often defies the traditional gender norms and stereotypes. Thirdly, we should focus on gender sensitization programming. See, implementing mandatory gender sensitization program in schools, workplaces, communities can help raise the awareness about gender issue and promote respectful behavior towards the woman. Fourthly, engaging men and boys. See, involving men and boys in discussion and initiatives which are often aimed at promoting gender equality is essential. This includes challenging the toxic masculinity norms, encouraging healthy relationship, and promoting men's involvement in caregiving and domestic responsibility. Fifthly, support for the women leadership. See, creating opportunity for women to participate in the leadership role across various sectors like politics, business can help challenge the patriarchal structure and promote the woman voice and perspective. Sixthly, community engagement and grassroots initiative. See, supporting the grassroots movements and community-based organization that works towards gender equality can have a significant impact at the local level. See, this initiative often addresses the specific cultural and social norms that perpetuate gender inequality. Seventhly, gender responsive education. See, developing educational curricula that promote gender equality, challenging the stereotype, and teach respect for the diversity can help shape more equitable attitudes even from the young age. Moreover, we shall also focus on the access to healthcare and reproductive right of the woman. See, ensuring women having access to quality healthcare services, including the reproductive healthcare, family planning, empower them to make informed choices about their bodies and their lives. Ninthly, workplace policies and practices. See, implementing the policies and practices in workplace that promote gender equality such as flexible working arrangement, parental leave, equal opportunities for the career advancement can help create a more inclusive and supportive environment for the women. Tenthly, support for the woman economic empowerment, like providing women with access to economic resources like credit, entrepreneurship training, and support for the small businesses can enhance their economic independence, which often forms the base for the various gender stereotypical mindsets. And moreover, we shall also focus on the community dialogues and advocacies. See, promoting open dialogue within the community about the gender role and norms, advocating gender equality at all levels of society can help shift the attitudes and promote positive changes. Finally, research and data collection. See, continued research on gender issues and collecting disaggregated data on the gender care can provide insights into the root cause of patriarchy, and it will also inform about the evidence-based policies and interventions. See, this is all about the main body of the answer. See, I have given you exhaustive points. You can take concise points and use it in your answer. Now let us go into conclusion. See, our conclusion can go like this. By implementing the combination of these interventions, societies can work towards dismantling the patriarchal attitudes and creating a more inclusive environment where women can thrive and contribute fully to all aspects of the society. See, this is all about the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the various interventions we can make to improve the status of the woman. Okay, with this learned points, let us conclude this discussion and take up the next news article for our analysis. This news article talks about a rescue operation conducted by Indian Navy personnel in the Gulf of Aden. This has been done to rescue the crew members from a Barbados flagged merchant ship which was attacked by a drone, looking like Pirates of Caribbean movie, right? But seriously, this is the second such incident reported in this week. In this backdrop, let us understand about what is Gulf, and we should also discuss about some of the strategic Gulf locations around the world. Okay, first things first, what is a Gulf? See, a Gulf can be described as a large body of water that is almost encircled by a land except for a small mouth which is open to ocean or sea. See, Gulf often provide natural harbors or sheltered areas along their coastlines. This makes them ideal for maritime trade and shipping activities. Moreover, they are sometimes connected to the ocean by a narrow passage of water called straits. Okay, with this basic information, let us see some of the Gulfs of the world. Firstly, we shall see about Gulf of Aden. Gulf of Aden is a deep water basin that forms a natural sea link between Red Sea and Arabian Sea. It is popularly known as Gulf of Berbera. Know that it is situated between the coast of Arabia and Horn of Africa. To the west, it narrows into Gulf of Tajura. Okay, now we shall see the countries that have coastlines on this Gulf. They are Yemen, Somalia and Djibouti. See, it contains several islands including the volcanic Socotra archipelago. It is strategically important as it acts as a primary navigation route for most of the oil which was transported from the Persian Gulf that is shipped to Suez Canal. Know that the Gulf of Aden is connected to the Red Sea through Bab el-Mandeb Strait. From its southern end at Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the Red Sea extends nearly 2000 km until it diverges into two smaller gulfs called Gulf of Suez and Gulf of Aqaba. You can see them in an image given here. Secondly, we shall discuss about Persian Gulf. See, it's an arm of the Arabian Sea located between the southwest Iran and Arabian Peninsula. It is bordered by Iran, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait and Iraq. Know that it is connected to Gulf of Oman in the east by Strait of Hormuz. See, the Strait of Hormuz is situated between Qusm Island and the Iranian coast in the north and Musandam Peninsula of the Arabian Peninsula in the south. Then finally we shall see about Gulf of Oman. See, it is the northwest arm of the Arabian Sea. In other words, the Gulf connects the Arabian Sea with the Strait of Hormuz, which then empties into Persian Gulf. Know that it is bordered by Pakistan and Iran in the north, by the United Arab Emirates in the east, and by Oman in the south. Know that the Muscat, the capital of Oman, is located on the coast of Gulf. The major Iranian cities that are located on the coastline of this Gulf are Gwadar Bay, Jask and Chabahar. Know that it is strategically important because it is the only entrance from the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean into the Persian Gulf. So, naturally it plays a crucial role in the transportation of the energy resources into the international markets. See, these are all certain strategic gulfs that we must know. So, with these learned points, let us conclude this discussion and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this news article. Thailand has opposed India's food security program at the recent WTO meeting. It is now raising objections to the custom regulations which was introduced in 2020 for verifying the rules of origin under the FTAs to prevent the misuse of the benefits. See, this objection from Thailand was brought up during the ongoing Indian-Asian FTA review meeting where India aims to increase the exports to Asian countries. This is the crux of the article. In this context, let us revise about the various stages of economic integration between the various countries from our prelims perspective. The first stage of economic integration is the preferential trade agreement. See, a preferential trade area or an agreement called PTA is a trading bloc that gives preferential access to certain products from the participating countries. See, this is done by reducing the tariffs but not by abolishing them completely. So, a PTA can be established through a trade pact. As I have already said, it is the first stage of the economic integration. These tariff preferences create departure from the normal trade principles between the countries. Next is free trade area or free trade agreement. See, FTA is a group of countries who have mutually agreed to limit or eliminate the trade barriers which exist among them. It tends to promote the free trade and international division of labor, allowing the countries to increase the specialization in their respective comparative advantages. See, FTA rules decide the scope and degree of how much the free trade will actually exist between the countries. The next is customs union. See, customs unions involve removal of trade barriers between the members and acceptance of a common unified external tariff regulation against the non-members. See, the countries that are part of a custom union only need to make a single payment or duty once the goods have passed through the border. Once they arrive inside the union, goods can move freely without any additional tariffs. See, the tariff revenue is then shared between the countries. Next one is common market. See, the common market is the most significant steps towards the full economic integration. A common market is the extension of the free trade from just tangible goods to all economic resources. This means all barriers are eliminated to allow the free movement of goods, services, capital and labor. Know that tariff and non-tariff barriers are also reduced and eliminated. Then the next stage is economic union. See, an economic union is a type of a trade bloc which is composed of a common market with a custom union. It has common trade policies towards the non-members, although members are free to pursue independent macroeconomic policies. Know that European Union is the best example of an economic union. Next is monetary union. See, monetary union is the first major steps towards macroeconomic integration and enables the economies to converge even more closely. See, in a monetary union, members adopt a single shared currency. For example, Euro for the European 17 countries and the East Caribbean dollar for the 11 islands in the East Caribbean. This means that there is a common exchange rate, common monetary policy, including the interest rates and the regulation of the quantity of money, and a single central bank, such as European Central Bank or the East Caribbean Central Bank. Next one is fiscal union. See, fiscal union is an agreement to harmonize the tax rate, common level of public sector spending and borrowing, and jointly agreed national budget deficits or surpluses. See, the majority of the EU states agreed a common fiscal compact in 2012, though it is a less binding version of a full fiscal union. Now look at economic and monetary union. See, the economic and monetary union EMU is a key stage towards the complete integration and involves a single economic market, common trade policy, single currency and common monetary policy. Finally, a complete economic integration. See, the complete economic integration involves a single market, trade policy, single currency, common monetary policy, together with a common fiscal policy, including the common tax, benefit rates, etc. Okay, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the various stages of economic integration from the prelims perspective. With these basic points, let us conclude this discussion and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this survey. It reveals that 70% of the women consider balancing the work and personal life as the primary career challenge. Despite some advancements, there is still work to be done to ensure equal opportunities for women in the workplaces. See, this is the crux of the article. In this context, let us learn about some important schemes for the women empowerment. Firstly, let us see a fact. The data from the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation Time Use Survey shows that for every 97 minutes spent daily by men on the unpaid domestic services for the household members, women spend 299 minutes on the average. This means women spend 134 minutes on average daily basis on a unpaid caregiving services for the household members, vis-a-vis 76 minutes spent by the men. It's clear that women bear a disproportionate burden of the household responsibilities. See, this effectively acts as a glass ceiling hindering the women growth. You would have often seen on the news or the paper about this word glass ceiling. But what does it mean? See, glass ceiling effects means an invisible barrier or responsibility which acts as a limiting factor for the empowerment of women. This is often creates as a result of a patriarchal social mindset which should be changed if women are to be fully and effectively participate in the labor force. Okay, with these basics, let us see some initiatives regarding the women empowerment. Firstly, Nirbhaya Fund. See, the Nirbhaya Fund framework provides for a non-lapsable corpus fund for the safety and security of the women. It was established in 2013 and administered by the Department of Economic Affairs under the Ministry of Finance. This fund is utilized for the projects and initiatives which are related to the safety of the woman. Secondly, Mahila Shakti Kendra scheme. See, it is to promote community participation through the involvement of student volunteers for the empowerment of the rural women. The district level center for women has also been created for the 640 districts. These centers serves as a link between the village, block and the state level in facilitating the women-centric schemes. Thirdly, one-stop center for women. To support the women affected by the violence they may face within the family or workplace or within the community in private or public place. See, it is especially useful for the women who face physical, sexual, psychological, emotional and economic abuse. Fourthly, Janani Suraksha Yojana. See, it's a safe motherhood intervention under the National Health Mission. It is a 100% centrally sponsored scheme, integrates cash assistance with the delivery and post-delivery care. Moreover, know that it aims to reduce the maternal and neonatal mortality among the pregnant women, especially from the marginalized sections. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we firstly saw about the concept of class ceiling, and secondly, we saw about the various interventions and schemes by the government to break that class ceiling. This is all about the discussion. Now let us move on to the next part of our video, that is to discuss the preliminary practice questions. Today I am having 5 questions. I will solve 4 of them and one will be a quiz question for you to solve. Okay, let us get into solving the questions. See the first question. Which of the following statements accurately describes the World Test Championship or WTC? See, out of the 4 options, see the first option. It's a limited over cricket tournament organized by ICC. See, this is wrong because as we know that Test Championship is not a limited over format. See the C and D statements. They are also wrong in their own way. Option B is correct. So the correct option is option B. See the second question of the day. Which is the characteristics feature of the additional Tier 1 bonds AT1 recently issued by the banks under the Basel III regulations? See, out of 4 options, option B, perpetual tenure with a call option is correct because AT1 bonds or additional Tier 1 bonds possess this unique characteristics of having a perpetual tenure. What does it mean? They do not have any fixed maturity date. However, they will have a call option allowing the issuing bank to call back the bond after a specific period, which is 5 or 10 years. So, out of the 4 statements, option B is correct. So, the correct option is option B. See the third question. Consider the following statements regarding the salinity level of the Gulfs in Red Sea and Persian Gulf. See the first statement. The Gulf of Aden exhibits higher salinity level compared to Gulf of Suez. See, the statement 1 is incorrect because the Gulf of Aden, despite its northern location within the Red Sea, experiences the lowest salinity level. This is mainly due to the influence of freshwater inputs from the nearby rivers and lower evaporation rates in the northern region. So the statement 1 is incorrect. See the second statement. The Persian Gulf generally experiences higher salinity compared to Gulf of Aden due to the limited freshwater inflow from the surrounding rivers. See, the statement is perfectly correct because the Persian Gulf exhibit higher salinity levels. This is because it receives limited fresh inflow of water from the rivers, resulting in the high rate of evaporation and consequently leads to high salinity. See, the statement 2 is correct. So the correct option is option B. See the fourth question. Consider the following schemes: Janani Suraksha, Janani Shikshu Suraksha Karyakam, Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. Out of these 3 schemes, which of the following provides cash incentives to the pregnant woman? See, out of the 3 schemes, first scheme, Janani Suraksha Yojana, provides the cash benefit because it's a safe motherhood intervention under the National Health Mission, providing cash assistance with delivery and post-delivery care. So, Janani Suraksha Yojana provides cash. Option 2, Janani Shikshu Suraksha Karyakam. See, JSSK was launched to assure free and cashless services to the pregnant woman for their normal delivery and cesarean operation. See, as the name itself is providing their cashless services, so it does not provide cash assistance. See the third scheme, PMMVY. See, it also provides cash incentives. So, eliminating the second scheme, the correct option is option B. See, the quiz question of the day is given here. Interested aspirants can comment the correct option in the comment section. If you like today's video, like, comment and share it with your friends. For more updates regarding the UPSC preparation, subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you very much.